Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Lucy Mbuthia from Feegor. I hope I pronounced that right. Yes. Once again, who ran the world?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm joined by my co-founder, Ugonna, and I'm Kenyan turned Nigeria.
Great.
Yeah.
Africa has over 44 million SMEs, and Nigeria alone has over 17 million. Now, all of these SMEs must source for products. In fact, their product sourcing abilities directly affect their sales, their profits, and even the survival of their business. In Nigeria, 8 out of 10 SMEs fail within the first 5 years. And over 30% of SME failure is as a result of product sourcing, inefficiencies, and challenges. What we are building at Feegor is a solution that will solve this problem. I would like to tell you about Adebola. Adebola is an SME who resides in Ibadan. Twice every month, Adebola needs to source for products. And she must travel from Ibadan to Lagos. When she does this, she locks her store in Ibadan. She loses sales because her store is locked. And when she gets to Lagos, she's limited to the suppliers in a major market region that she visits. If that supplier doesn't have stock, she can't source for goods. In addition to this, she's not able to obtain any form of credit, and this hinders her growth. I would like to introduce you to the future of product sourcing. The platform that makes it possible for Adebola to source goods easier, faster, and cheaper. Feegor is a B2B wholesale marketplace that enables SMEs like Adebola to discover, negotiate, and source goods directly from manufacturers, wholesalers, and major suppliers nationwide. Everybody seated in this room today can conveniently source goods from China through Alibaba. If you go to Alibaba today, you can access manufacturers and suppliers in China. But what if you wanted to source goods from Nigeria? How do you access the manufacturers or the suppliers in Nigeria? Even if you wanted to find manufacturers or suppliers in Nairobi, how do you find them? There's no easy, efficient, and on-demand way for millions of businesses who must source for products to discover manufacturers and major suppliers. And that's basically what we are building at Feegor. In addition to that, we are supporting these businesses with access to credit through Buy Now, Pay Later. My name is Ugonna Ginigeme. I'm a co-founder and CEO at Feegor. I'm a two-time founder with over a decade of experience across the retail value chain. So I've basically played in all sectors of the retail value chain, from manufacturing to wholesale distribution across multiple African countries, to building B2B and B2C e-commerce startups. But my background is originally in engineering.
My name is Lucy Mbuthia. I'm an investor turned operator. Started my career in private equity in Kenya and Senegal, then moved to Nigeria where I worked in venture capital, and that's what introduced me to the world of startups. And I was able to work with a couple of startups operating in the SME space, but particularly in e-commerce. And I was able to see firsthand some of the problems that these startups face as regards product sourcing. Together, we're joined by two other co-founders. Sukriti holds an MBA from Oxford University, was born into a manufacturing family in India, so she firsthand has experienced the challenges that manufacturers and distributors face in emerging markets. And Sunday basically has built technology solutions in the last 10 years for e-commerce, fintech, and edtech space. We started building Feegor last year and started commercial operations in September 2023. And what we've achieved so far is a testament to the problem that we're trying to solve for SMEs experiencing challenges in product sourcing. So far, we've onboarded 3,000 businesses on the Feegor platform. We have about 8,000 product SKUs being sold on the platform and facilitated over 5,000 B2B wholesale transactions, generating 600,000 GMV so far from September till date. We were able to raise our small family and friends to get us kickstarted with our operations, and with that has enabled us to get to this stage. Currently, we're raising our pre-seed round of $500,000 to go to the next phase of our product and also to build and grow Feegor. And we would like to invite all of you to join us as we build Africa's largest B2B wholesale marketplace. Thank you.
Thank you.
Short and sweet, I guess. Very impressive. I think the first questions will come from me. KYC, particularly on knowing your merchants and who your clients are sourcing from. So how do you go about that? Verification and all that. And then I'm pretty much interested in how you navigated the recent global shocks. We've had a couple of, I think they're called 3 Cs. There was COVID, but you guys started after COVID, yeah? Then there was ripple effect of that. There was the Russia-Ukraine thing that was going on, Taiwan, China, although we don't hear about it so much. And then there is the biggest disruption, which is the monetary, the FX challenges. How did you navigate that? This is just a general question.
Okay, I'll pick the first question. So
Yeah.
on the verification, we have field agents who go to the various markets to acquire the manufacturers, suppliers, wholesalers, importers, right? So by that, they are our verification process because they're able to onboard them onto our platform. And they can be able to tell who is a real distributor, who is a real importer by just how the store looks like, the goods that they're selling, the prices that they're selling the goods at. Yeah.
Judges?
So that was
You want to answer the second one? Yeah, it's okay. And then we come to you. So how you navigated the global shocks? Yeah.
Okay. So what happens today is, if you look at Nigeria, for example, over 70% of products consumed are imported.
Yeah.
Right? So for us, we are not helping the importers find products. The importers already have partnerships with manufacturers globally.
Okay.
But when the product gets into Nigeria or into Africa, how do those products move from the importers to the SMEs who need to source these products?
Okay.
Right? So what we are doing is making it possible for these importers to have an online presence. So SMEs nationwide, right from their mobile phone without having to commute, can now get access to these importers, negotiate with them, and source goods directly from them.
All right.
And in terms of FX shocks, which was your third question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the importers are dealing with that, or do you
Internally.
get, and buying the product. But when the product gets to the Nigerian market, gets to Nigeria or gets to other African countries, though for now, we are focused just on the Nigerian market, but our vision is really to build cross-border, to optimize cross-border product sourcing, where businesses who are in Nairobi are able to get access to manufacturers who are in Nigeria and suppliers who are in Ghana. That's the long-term vision for us. We want to be able to optimize product sourcing across the continent. But for now, we are only focused on the Nigerian market.
Great. That ties really well with the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement. Yes?
Exactly.
Go ahead, Maya.
And hello, great pitch. Nice to see you. Understood geographic focus, but with these sort of models where we've seen them really hit critical mass is when they choose verticals that they're going to focus on. What's your go-to-market? Because that's when you can really hit wholesale pricing. That's when you can really offer true value to your merchant base. So how are you guys thinking about that as far as what sectors are you focusing on now and later? And then also who's full-time and who's part-time with the team?
Okay, so I'll start from the second question. We're all full-time. So 4 co-founders full-time, and then we
Since when?
So we've been full-time since, everybody has been full-time since September. The last person to come in full-time was Sue, because she was still doing her MBA at Oxford. So as soon as she was done, she joined full-time. Right. So in terms of the categories we are focused on, so what happens is this. We have categories we refer to as low-hanging fruits that have been the easiest for us to drive adoption, right? But the model really is to build a multi-category platform, right? So if you look at platforms like Ugonna in India, it's multi-category. You look at like Alibaba in China, multi-category. You look at like Fair in the US, it's multi-category. So we want to be that platform where these businesses are able to source all of their products. Today on Feegor, we have businesses sourcing over 95%. Some businesses sourcing over 95% of the things they sell on the Feegor platform. And it's only possible because they have access to a vast network of manufacturers and suppliers across categories. So our top 3 categories now, packaging materials. So most SMEs need some sort of packaging plastic bottles, cartons, mailing bags, jute bags, something, right? Then we have food items and farm fresh. So we have major suppliers of different kinds of food items, even funny things like granuts in commercial quantity. We have people sourcing granuts in commercial quantity on Feegor today because they can find the suppliers. And then groceries and supermarket goods, especially the imported ones. So if you think about most supermarkets, over 70% of the items they are imported. But there's no way to get the importers without Feegor. So today, except you physically go to the market, of course, which is very inefficient. So today, Feegor is able to give these businesses direct access to a vast network of manufacturers and suppliers, so they're able to source easier, faster, cheaper.
You've just said imported so many times that the naira just devalued another 100 naira. You see that?
Yeah,
Why are you
it's
thinking
not,
about
it's
that
not
in
our
the long
fault,
term?
right? Nigeria is an
you're the one.
economy.
Is this in dollars or you're paying in naira? Tell the truth.
What, the importers? No, it's naira transactions, to be fair, for now. But we know that there's an opportunity for us to, sort out cross-border payments as we scale.
Okay, so you're paying where you're sourcing the product. You're paying them in naira.
Okay, so just to clarify the model, Feegor does not sell any product directly. We are not distributors. So what we are saying is, if you think of like a distributor called Justin Charles, who is one of the largest importers of certain grocery products, Justin Charles can now have a presence on Feegor, right? And you think of a supermarket who needs to source products, they can come to Feegor, create an account, and then search for, let's say, sardines. And they can say, this person is an importer of sardines. They can negotiate on the Feegor platform, pay her, and then the products are delivered in bulk through our logistics partners. So we don't sell any product directly. We don't warehouse any product directly. We are not distributors. We are simply connecting the supply side and the demand side for B2B transactions.
With your logistics partners.
Sorry?
With your logistics partners.
Yes. So logistics partners handle fulfillment.
So this is like Trade Depot model.
Trade Depot is a distributor of some sort because they buy from like large manufacturers, they warehouse the product and they sell. We don't pay anybody to buy goods. We are saying if a manufacturer, let's say you manufacture plastic bottles, come on Feegor, set up your online store, and then businesses who need to source plastic bottles come on Feegor, they find you, they negotiate with you, and they pay you. So it's very similar to the Alibaba model. We are not distributors, and that's why we can do multi-category, because we have no inventory, we don't plan to have, we have no assets and no fiscal assets of any kind. We're just connecting the supply and demand side. So we are more profitable and scalable than competitors who are typically asset heavy.
Of all examples, sardines. Mukasa?
Thank you for the presentation. Really interesting. I'm really interested in knowing, how you're dealing with the barriers to adoption, especially among the SMEs, because, African SMEs are very much focused on keeping what they're already doing. So how are you navigating that? And the other thing is, how are you charging the SMEs themselves? Who is paying for the service? Is it the distributor or the SME?
Okay, great question. So in terms of adoption, it's been very interesting. So think about, let me use Nigeria because that's where we operate. Think about a business who has to travel, a business owner who has to travel from Jos to Lagos twice every month, right? And we know the rising cost of transport, everything is going more expensive. So your cost, your profits, you're eating into your profits because of your expenses, right? Now, if you have a platform that can say, you don't have to travel, but you can access the 20 biggest suppliers of this product you sell. You can negotiate with them, and you can source from them and have the goods delivered to you at a better price than you would even if you travel. It's a no-brainer. And so that's why we've been seeing very good adoption, right? What we've done, the numbers we've done it in less than 6 months since we started commercial operations, right? So the adoption for us has not been a problem at all. On the supply side, they are very eager to move inventory faster. So if you think of a supplier who has customers that buy an average of $10,000 monthly, but now because with Feegor, those customers can access credits. So they can now buy goods of up to $20,000 monthly while the supplier has no risk. It's a no-brainer, right? So they are happy to come to the platform and move more goods faster, move inventory faster, and make more money with no risk. And then on the buyer side...
Sorry, for these SMEs, are they only formal or you also support informal SMEs?
It's formal and informal. And what's interesting is 72% of informal SMEs have access to smartphones. They are on the internet, right? They are transacting on WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, etc., right? So Feegor is just optimizing what they already do. They're already transacting. They're already buying goods. They already have an online presence, most of them, right? So we just want to optimize that process so they can do it easier, faster, cheaper.
Thanks so much. Trying to get this thing to work. All right, so, as we all know, over the last 5 years, we'll call it, there's been a lot of activity in the B2B commerce space. There's been a lot of money invested, and that's dried up in the last 2 years, right? We've all seen this. I think it's for good reasons. For the most part, it's because many of these models are very low margin. It takes a lot of money to actually build the infrastructure it takes to scale, and there's very little loyalty from these businesses. Some of the ways to avoid that is what you guys are doing, which is going very asset light. The challenge there is then you have low value add, and that loyalty goes down even more. How do you think about the lessons learned from this space over the last 3 to 5 years, and how have you reoriented your business to overcome that, especially considering the funding challenges that you will face after this round?
I think let me pick that question, particularly because I worked at a startup that was doing B2B e-commerce, right? So the challenge with that model, number one, is, as you say, the margins are very low from like a gross profit point of view, and at the same time, you're still incurring logistics costs on behalf of the retailer who would have otherwise gone to the market. Now, the issue is, if you look at a particular retailer, they're selling a lot of products, right? And the startups in the e-commerce space, like Maya mentioned, Trade Depot, are focused on the local FMCG products, meaning even that particular retailer, you still can't service them end to end because you're focused on FMCG, and the locally manufactured FMCG, like from the Unilever, the Nestle, is just 3% of FMCG. Right? So the retailer still has to go to the market. Yes, you will deliver to them at your own cost, but they still have to go to the market to source for the goods, right? So in terms of loyalty, I don't think like the risk particularly is there. I think your other question is how we make value. So currently we are in 26 states. Like we've seen orders from like all states across like Nigeria, and most of it is organic because we only have our boots on the ground in Lagos, right? So if you think about the business in Kano, what they're thinking about is how am I saving transport costs, to start. And that's why when we started with packaging material, it's very low value. So they can test you with very low value items, and then you can upsell to them because they're packaging something that they either need to distribute or they need to source for their items, right? So we make money through commission. So for every transaction that happens on our platform, we charge 5 to 10%, depending on the product. So some products are very low margin, and with the FX, products are very low margin, but other products are like very high margin. For instance, we have a distributor of palm oil who orders 3,000 to 5,000 jerrycans on our platform every month, right? Mm-hmm. And because we are getting directly from the manufacturer of the plastics, we can be able to charge like 10% and still add value to that person. Because the thing is, they would have never found a reliable supplier without us. Mm-hmm.
Question, are you guys doing the logistics? So are you bringing it from the distributor? So
we've integrated with various logistics partners. So on the front end, it's very simple. You just request for delivery. But on the back end, we've integrated truck, render, ship. So we've integrated with various logistics partners. But what helps to ensure, our reliability is that we hold the payments in escrow until the retailer can confirm that they've received.
So just a question for you guys. Consider, if you're charging 10% margins, you're not coordinating logistics, and they can go directly to the distributor, they might cut you out, right? That might be a risk.
Okay, so the idea is this, right? You're talking about the risk of circumvention, basically, right? We have 3 strategies to minimize that, and so far that hasn't been an issue. Because if you think of somebody in Kano, if the person is cutting us out, then he's back to square one because he's coming from Kano to Lagos to still find that supplier. Right? And so we have 3 strategies. One of them is technology. We've built technology to minimize that. Second is incentives. So incentives are, if anything goes wrong, if you circumvent, Feegor can't be held responsible. Right? And the more you build your credit history, the more you build your order history, your transaction volume, the more you have access to benefits like credit. So your obligor limit goes up, etc., so you're incentivized. And the third is penalties. So if you circumvent, imagine a supplier who has been building his profile on Feegor. Now you're one of the top suppliers when people search etc. And then because you circumvent, you have to get kicked off the platform, right? So the fear of those penalties will keep you there, right? For us, the way we think about Feegor is we know that the long term, for most manufacturers and suppliers, and when we talk about manufacturers, for clarity, we're talking majorly about small to medium scale manufacturers and major suppliers, like importers, distributors, etc. Right? So when you circumvent and you've built your profile history, you get kicked off the platform, you're not the only person supplying this thing. There are other major suppliers. So if you get kicked off the platform, you're on the losing end. Right? So we're using technology, incentives, and penalties to reduce the risk of circumvention. Right? Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Great
Thank you.
story, and I hope you guys order from Feegor.